Oops. Anyway, I must say, apologies if I offend anyone with my accents or bad accents, but I do like accents, and I'm allowed to do Welsh because I got 40% Welsh. I think I can just about do some Irish because I got 17% Irish. I mean, I'm proper mixed up. Yeah, quite a bit. But anyway, my emphasis is trying to probably establish a group. I don't know, some kind of forum where we can exchange considerations and just grow it out. So that the workforce, the people that are working, right, and those that are not so fortunate, of course, would always be taken care of, right, in the best way that we can. You know, appreciate everyone and sort this world out. I don't know how we're going to keep it cool. You know, a nuclear war might help it, in fact, because, you know, with the nuclear, that umbrella of radiation would stop the sun coming through and scorching the place. It would put it into a cloud, wouldn't it, in effect? And then we bring the temperatures back. Unfortunately, I don't think we can live with that amount of radiation. Excuse me, I'm just going to look over here for 1 second. You'll all guess why, and then I'll be back in this 1 second. Hey, have a look out the window. Trying to save the world, you can't always, you know, give up everything that you are. You can't. You can't. You must, you know, I let things go, let it happen. You know, you be the master of you, but be responsible for what you do. And stop giving it to people. Everybody is somebody's child. That's what I want to say. And when you consider that everybody's somebody's child, if you're a father, then you know what I mean. You know, you want the best for your kids if you can. You know, it's not he's better than him or he's better than him. It's nothing like that. You want your kid to be happy. As long as your kid's happy as well, you know, that's all you ask for. That's all anybody asks for, is for their children to have a better way. You know? And those who don't, well, overrule them, you know? Yeah, so we need to make a new beginning, is what I'm considering. And what is the new beginning after the 24? You know, because would it be 2024 is what I'm referring to? Is the end, is my opinion, my consideration. But what is the next phase? And we can make it because we, as a workforce across the world, I mean, we all live the bloody same. You know, we go to work every day, put a little bit of money, you know, that we have to something, you know, so the family can eat. We all do that same thing. Yeah, sometimes you got to get up early. Sometimes, you know, you don't sleep at all, you know, for a day or two. But you do it because you put the food on the table for your family. That's what we do. And we are the backbone of every country. Without us, there would be no countries. There would be none of these people saying, ooh, because they wouldn't have it. They wouldn't have it. It's your sons and your daughters that are in the militaries. Consider that. Well, I'd look over here one more time. 1 second more. That's all, probably. So, now I don't mean to be ranting on anybody. All right, I look like Victor Meldrew now, innit? Eh? That's a character that always rants on things. Well, I'm not ranting. It's just time to get something. You know, we need to sort the world out because, you know, when I say about it splitting into two, you know, like an apple splitting into two, what if it's going to be them there and those there? Hey, that's a possibility, you know. You know, in Holland, right, they already got that mealworm growing, haven't they? Yeah, that's the new food, isn't it? Oof. Crikey. But it's time for a change. And that time, if you don't do it before the 24th, you won't. I just don't want it to be like that. You know, at the last turn between the Aryan and the Piscean. Oh, check that for history. That was awful. And you know, the strangest thing is, before that, between the Taurians and the Aryans, I don't know. Well, we don't know much about that battle, do we? Or if it was a battle, it probably was a battle, but I don't know. But you'd imagine that people learn from the one before and improve, but they don't. They can't learn from each other, especially not in this time, because in this time, it's the money. Right? The money is it. When I say money is it, money and power, of course, because when you got the money, you got the power, right? If you don't do it, I'll blow you away. Yeah, you got all that. Well, definitely, it's time for a change. And we, the workforce, need to cooperate, need to communicate. We have such abilities now. You know? What is there going to be? Nature itself is going to take care of us very soon. But there are things that we can do. I mean, if you look at those plateaus, you know, like, I don't know what you call them, but in China where they got those levels like that, you can grow food in there, couldn't you? And we're going to have to do that on the higher grounds. You know, I don't know why I'm telling everybody. Everybody would be there and there'd be no room for me. Who cares? So, I'm just considering people of tomorrow, you know, the children. Whitney was right. She might have had a few problems later on, but we all do. We get them sooner or later. You don't escape this world without having problems. And if you're my age, you'd have had plenty already and probably ain't finished with them yet. Same as me. But we can make it better. And that's what I would like to try to somehow do. One voice. But that voice can grow. I don't know how. It's just those poor people in the Ukraine, right? Look, Putin was pushed into a response, and he responded. And NATO, these are my opinions, of course, my considerations. Those poor people living over there, you know, they have a rough enough time as it is, you know. In places like Poland and the Czech Republic, their military are pretty strong. You know, they're quite aggressive. They're not. I mean, the military here, I guess it's because of the same language. We can like banter a bit or something, you know. But you know, I've met some military over that side, and I mean, I've met them off duty, and they're quite pleasant. But on duty, you don't know them. They bark at you like you're. You don't know what the hell they're saying. Anyway, so you gotta stop it. What the hell's all the fighting for? You ain't gonna get nothing better out of it. What are you gonna get? You're still gonna pay your taxes. You're still gonna go to work every day. What are you gonna get from it? What, that's what you're a winner because you can do that every day. You can do it with whoever is the people in charge of us. It's always been that way, and it probably always will be. But their way is leading to destruction because all they do is consume. And they shit it out the other end. And they got so much shit coming out, they don't know what to do with it. They're up to their ears in it. That's because they're thick. I mean, all those plastic products, all that plastic waste, that can be reused. Of course it can. Can be used as a compound in many things. You just need the machines to grind it. But who wants the process of doing that? That's where it is, because it costs money. Nobody wants to put money in and get a little bit out. Money. You know, my grandmother used to say, it's the root of all evil. And she ain't far wrong. Because, you know, when something happens, if you follow a money trail, you're going to find that person. Mostly. Yeah. You know what they say? Where there's a will, there's a relative. Yeah. So, you want to make it, I want to make it better. I want to change it. I think it should start with education. You know, they say nurture nature, right? Nature, nurture. So these are, some people say this is in sevens, you know, sevens. So it's like 7 years of nature, nurture, yeah, and then 7 years of nature, yeah, something like that. So the first bit is you know, the first 7 years should be for your child, if you know we were reasonably decent all around, then the first 7 years of your child's life is in the family, within the family, and the family's friends, close friends that they trust and such, and always in that company. And then after the first 7 years comes the second 7 years, where the child goes to school and starts to mix with the outsider population, still governed over, but having to stand on their own feet. And that can be awful for some kids. I mean, from the age of, I mean, in Britain, kids go to school from a baby, you know, from soon as a baby's 6 months old, 3 months old, or something like that. There are nurseries here, they take care of the children, or supposed to. That's hopeless, pray to God, eh? So they take care of the children, and then from there they go on to, I mean, where's that bonding? Where's that bonding? Where's that unity, that family, that understand, you know, that family is nourishing. It's constant, you know, yeah, it's nourishing in all its aspects. Right, that's what family is. Well, some things you like and some things you don't, but you're learning and you're getting nourished by it. But when you're in a school or another environment, it's kind of more sterile. You know, it's not that warmth atmosphere of family. And so that's what I consider in Britain, and probably America too. I'm not sure about Europe, and they have nurseries over there too. I know that because I've been there, but what age necessarily the basics begin. But here I know it's like, I think it's 3 months, 6 months old. So a child's losing that nurture, you might think is nurturing time. Yeah. And then you got, then the second 7 is supposed to be when the child goes into school and out into that environment to stand on their own. And then in that, they're strong enough to endure it. They're ready to endure it. You know, they're fun. They've got their own little bit of confidence about them and a bit shy and so on. But, yeah. And then that takes them up to 14 when they start to discover themselves, who they are. And that takes from the age of 14 to 21. And that's when the army went down, you know that. Yep. And that's when they're easily, go get him. And he does, you know, because they want to please, you know. And they're learning. Yeah, the teenage years, very complicated, especially in England. Don't do this. The whole world does it, not the whole world, but that you know, region or country or whatever, does this. And you get told, don't do that. And you try not to do that, but, you know, you get sucked in. You know, someone's going to hit you. You got to hit them back. You know, and who knows what's going to happen. Because, you know, it's crazy. It's not that you want to hurt anybody. Nobody wants to hurt anybody. I never want to hurt anybody. Right? I don't want to be responsible for hurting somebody. Not at all. No. You know, that's where we, you know, we need to consider that. And the way I consider it is everybody is somebody's child. And you know, how you love your child, how you would like somebody to treat your child, you know, in any circumstances, that's how you should treat theirs. You see a kid on the street and he's, you know, say to him, I know your mum. You behave yourself. It'll be fine. Unless, of course, you know, he's an American, he's got himself a little old Uzi. Then you're in trouble, boy. Yeah. Because you won't be telling his mama nothing. They call, hey, you snitching son of a bitchin'. You get all that. Yep. So, re-education is where it should come from, educating from the beginning. And I don't know if our generation will be able to do that because we have too much aggression. We carry too much of that. I never was really. Well, I stand up for myself. I fight back every time, but, no, it's not good. I don't like to see people hurt, really. And, well, my thing is basically because of my time, of hitchhiking around and, the trust and, in other people, and people were fine. And, I always enjoyed people's company and conversation about all kinds of things and what they do and what they don't, what I do, what I don't, all that kind of stuff. But all I'm going to say is that we're the same. We really, really, really are. We're just from a different mother. A brother from a different mother. That's exactly what we are. And we all are that. When they say like a tree, like the branches of a tree, it's like that. And that's how we need to start considering it. The change is coming, and we can work together. Most of us ain't going to make it, that's a fact. And those that will, it will be very difficult for them. Very difficult. And that's why we need to make the change now. Because otherwise you're going to be eating each other. That's my consider. And it ain't far. Yeah, there's going to be some that's got plenty. But those who got plenty will be under attack from those that have nothing. That's another thing. Because those that have it are not going to give it. They're going to keep it for themselves. Because they don't know how long they're going to be stuck there for. How long they're going to have to hold up. And it's okay making these little bivouacs and these little camps out in the woods. That's a great idea. That's a brilliant idea. But you need to, consider the aspect of the food that's around you. What you can eat and what you can't eat. And producing food. Can you produce the food? How long does it take for your potatoes to grow? That's how we're going to have to be. In a very near future. Very near future. You ask the kids, some of the kids here now, it was not long ago, I seen it on the TV, they asked the kids that, so where do you get your eggs? Where do eggs come from? And they said, from Tesco's, the supermarket. You see, how are they going to, fend for themselves? How are they going to do that? They'll be fighting with bows and arrows, trying to catch rabbit. Yeah, living up in the woods. Where you got some people will be held up in their built-in underground, mansions, having a swim, saying, hello, darling, yes, could you put the heating on? It's rather cold. Yeah. Where you got some poor kid, getting torn apart by a fucking stranger. Because they're starving. Yeah. Get in the caves. And that's the main survival places would be in a cave. But then you got to consider, do you put the fire on? Because if you put the fire on, everybody sees you. But that's when you need the fires of a night time to keep, to keep warm. Yeah. And there's not that many caves where we could all run to. Places like Bhutan, that'd be probably okay. That's high enough. Then you got the Andes over that way. Those places up high, they'll be fine, I expect. Places in North America, Arizona, that'll be fine, should be. And there's some places in near Jordan, that'll be fine. But the rest of us, you're gonna be toast. Yeah. So, put down them guns and pick up some shovels and start doing some work. Otherwise, you ain't going to be here. Yeah. So, we'll take up this blog another time. Thanks for that. Goodbye.